I keep forgetting.
All right, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. I didn't know what kind of riders we have today, so you guys all know me. I'm Sharon Cashman, and I like to bike, and I've been biking many years. And so, what do you want to get out of this talk? What are your interests about bicycling? Sandy, why don't you?
I guess just knowing more about it, 'cause
Is it more about the bike, about the trails, about Iowa laws?
I suppose more about the bike and the laws.
How
And the
about
trail.
Leanne? I know you said you're not feeling safe in towns.
I do not, I will not do that.
I don't feel safe walking in town.
I will just stick to the bike
You'll
trails.
stick to the bike trails, which is a good option.
Mm-hmm.
And Pam?
It's just a variety of things. My bike I have right now is the hand-me-down from my husband, so it doesn't really fit me well. So just when we ever decide to actually get me my own bike,
Your own bike.
like what to look for, and then just various things. Like I'm really cool things to show there, things that keep us safe. Right now,
Right.
I ride with a tag along, so I have my kiddo behind me on my bike, on our bicycle, and so I'm with you. I'd be riding town, but I'm always just I can't see what's coming behind me. So
Mhm. So do you have the kiddo and the tag along with the helmet on?
oh yes.
Good. And that's really important, even when they're in the little carriers like that, to keep a helmet on the child, because if that little tag along got hit or you got hit, that's going to protect the child as well. So the first thing I always emphasize is the bicycle helmet, because that's your only protection. And if you want your kids to wear them or grandkids to wear them, you have to wear one too. So that's the only way you're going to protect yourself and save yourself if you would fall. And people tell me, but I ride on the trail and I go slow. It's not the speed, it's the impact. So it doesn't matter. You can fall from standing up and still end up with a head injury. Not that I want you wearing helmets all around work today, but just think about it. That's your only protection. And then to make sure that they're fitted right. A good helmet. The nice ones have dials in the back so you can fit. They should fit like a hat, so just above the eyebrows. All right? And then the V comes down over each ear. And then you should only have about 1 or 2 fingers width under the chin. So you don't want it choking you, but you want it so it's snug, so it doesn't go anywhere. And then you can dial it down in the back to snug it a little bit more. So it shouldn't be up on the head this way because you don't want any impact here. So helmets, that's the first thing when you get a bike, have a helmet. We were talking a little bit about safety and being seen and being able to see others. I have a nice little mirror, and I love my little mirror. Sometimes kind of hard to find the little metal one. The bike shops do carry them. They fit on your sunglasses or glasses. It allows you to quickly see what's going on behind you or around you. So you can look in your mirror, just like a side view mirror on a car, and see what's coming from behind. And it's not just this side. You can turn this way a little bit too and see what's on this side of you. Once you get used to wearing one, it's hard to go without one. You just feel kind of vulnerable because you don't know what's coming up behind you. So if you're looking to buy a bike, figure out what are you going to use it for. Are you going to use it on trails? You're going to use it to bike to work, ride around town? What's your purpose? If you're going on ride, you're going to want a road bike. You're wanting something lighter. You don't want to take a bike like this on ride. It's too heavy. You're going to be very fatigued and very, very frustrated, and it will take you a long time to get where you're going. If you're doing 7 to 10 miles an hour, a nice pace, but an easy pace. You want something that's going to be upright. It's going to get you where you're going. Maybe have a little bit thicker tire on it, have a little more traction, but it's also going to be a little heavier. When you size a bike, this bike is actually a little big for me, but my husband actually was buying it for himself, and I do ride it around town and ride it to work. But when you size it, you want your seat to be right about at your hip. Okay? You also, this for me is a little far forward. You should be at a comfortable length forward, and they do size bikes at the bike stores for you. You don't want to have too much reach that it puts tension on the lower back. And then also the position of the seat forward and back makes a difference. I see people with their seat too low and they're like this, they're crunched down. That'll really impact your knees, the fronts of your knees, your kneecaps. That causes too much pressure on the front of the kneecap. And then if you have it too high, where you're really reaching, it'll be the back of the leg that'll get sore. So you'll need to drop your seat a little bit. Also, if you have your seat too far forward, again, front of the knee, too far back, back of the knee. So really think about seat positioning. And once you get it right, it's okay to put a little marker there if you have multiple people riding that bike, and mark your spot so it's easy to adjust that seat. A lot of them have the quick release, and you can adjust them and you can mark that spot. If you don't have a quick release, there are other tools that you can use. Most of the bikes carry like an Allen wrench tool. And you can use just regular Allen wrenches, but this one's specifically for bikes, so it fits all of the different parts of the bike that need a wrench, and it also has a screwdriver. So those are things where you can adjust the handlebars, if the handlebars are out of whack, because they should be straight in line. If they're not straight in line, you need to tighten that up. So don't be afraid to get out your internet and YouTube. Art Cyclery is one of my favorite YouTube videos. I've learned how to totally tune my own bike from that. Have you ever been biking along and your chain fell off? Once your chain falls off, kind of stop pedaling but shift back to the gear you were in when your chain was on. Sometimes it will reset itself. If it doesn't, the easiest way to get your chain back on is by pushing up this rear derailleur and fitting that chain back onto that. So you actually have to get your hands a little dirty, but that's okay, because once that chain drops off, you have to release that tension to get it back on. It doesn't matter what gear you put it on, just get it back on, and then once you start shifting, it will shift back to its gear. That's why I said when you have the chain go off, shift back to the gear where it was on, that derailleur will try to put it back on itself. So try that first. But if it catches, it could take you down. If it locks up, get ready to brake and get off the bike, no matter where you are. But realize if there's other people with you, don't take anybody out on the way. You know, just kind of let it coast and then get off safely. So bikes have a lot of moving parts. If you're having a problem with the chain dropping, you probably need it serviced. You probably need to take it in and get it checked. It has nice little screws that set the upper limit and lower limit, and those are all things that they'll adjust for you to make sure that that chain doesn't drop off. The other thing, if you have your seat too high, you will get saddle sore because you are reaching too far to reach those pedals. The backs of your calves will also get sore reaching too far to get to those pedals. But once you get your seat adjusted and you're in the right spot and you're going on a long ride, if you are going to ride a lot, invest in the shorts. The shorts with padding, they also make underwear now with padding. It'll take you about 3 good rides so you don't get saddle sore, because your bottom's not used to sitting on that seat. You got to kind of break it in. So give it a little time, but the padding helps too. So when you're out on the bike, riding along, on the trails you really have to watch for lots of little critters, don't you, Leanne? You see chipmunks, skunks.
Ron is in front of me.
Okay, he scares them for you. Squirrels, bunnies. Best thing to have on a trail. Have a bike, some kind of noise maker.
Really?
If you hear that on the trail, that means I'm coming, because I will ride up behind you and you may not hear me. And don't be afraid to call out on the trail and say, hey, on your left, right behind you. Because people walking along have their headbuds in, they don't hear you. And they may not even hear this. That is trail courtesy to call out and say, on your right, on your left, wherever you're going around them. Try not to scare them. I did scare somebody once and it scared them. You know, and I said on your left and they drove right into the ditch. And I tried, you know, but it's important to make yourself known. Also, especially with the trails, we have hunting seasons in Iowa. I never go out during hunting season without a bright orange or red shirt on. Because a lot of those trails are through nature areas. They back up to farmland. You don't necessarily know who's out there hunting. So be seen, especially on trails, not just on the roads, not on city roads. On city roads, you have to follow all the rules of motor vehicles. So you have to stop at the stop signs. You have to signal your turn. Although bikes are not allowed on interstates, occasionally you will see one there. Do not ride against the traffic. You walk against traffic, you ride with traffic. So that's one thing to just be careful of. Do not bike against the traffic.
Is that a state law, Sharon?
It is a law because we're classified under the same as a motor vehicle, so you have to follow the motor vehicles. Whether it's enforced, that's another story. So it's also, I don't know if they signed it into law, but you're supposed to have a light at dusk, front and rear, minimum reflector, and you should be able to be seen up to 300 feet. So if you're out buying a bike or buying a light, make sure it goes to 300 feet because that's what they figure minimum distance for a car to stop. So if you don't want to buy a specific bike light, wear a headlamp. I mean, they're cheap. You can just take a headlamp with you. If you don't have room to put a little light on the back of your bike, see my nice little light doesn't have a holder anymore, so I tape it on. But I need a new light. You can also put them on your back if you've got a little hook or something that you can put on your back. I don't carry a pump to inflate my tires if I'm out on the trail. Some people do. Unless you know how to use it and how to change a tire, it's kind of extra stuff. Carry a phone instead. You can phone a friend. Have somebody come get you. To inflate your tires, on the side of the tire, it will tell how many pounds per square inch to inflate. And in Waverly, just behind Quick Star on the east side, we've got a whole new bike apparatus that has the hand pump, it has tools, it has little things that if you get down there, you can fix your bike if you've got a little issue. It's really nice. How often should you inflate your tires? Anybody know? How often do you, Sandy? You bike a lot.
When they start getting flat.
I check my tires for air every day, minimum once a week. When I bike on the trail a lot, last week, put air in my tires, and then sometimes I get busy or I don't think about it. I don't check my tires. I lost 20 pounds in 1 week, 20 pounds of air in 1 week. Your tires do lose air that fast. And you won't have a good biking experience if it's hard. And that's the easiest thing you can do is put air in your tires, make the bike roll smoother. So again, depending on the terrain, if you're on gravel, you might not want it inflated as high as it goes because you want a little more grip. But if you're riding on pavement, you want it inflated higher. The higher you inflate, the harder the ride is too. It's a little stiffer ride. So that makes a difference. Brakes and carrying your bike. How do you carry your bike? Do you have a car rack? No?
No, I just put it in the back of the car if I have to take it somewhere.
Do you have to take it apart to do that?
No.
No?
I can just put it in, put the seats down and.
Okay. Some of them, the front tire pops off, but in order to pop that front tire off, you also have to release the brake. Once you release the brake, that tire will pop off real easy. So you can put the whole bike in and then just put the tire in. Don't forget to put the brake back when you get out, because it's not going to break on the front if you do that. So just learn kind of the basic mechanics of your bike. This one looks like it needs new brakes, so I think I'll be replacing brakes this summer. Once the brake pads get worn, you're going to have to replace those because it's not gonna be safe, especially if they get wet, they don't grip very well. Other things, proper attire, be seen, that's the main thing, wear bright. And biking clothing isn't always bright, but if you're gonna be out, be bright, so cars can see you. I know if you've driven and you've come across somebody who's walking or biking and they're wearing black, it's really scary. But the biking tops are nice because they have little pockets in them. You can put your phone in, you can put your earbuds, but if you're gonna use earbuds, one ear only. So you can still hear and see what's going around you. So if you're out shopping, check out the sales rack at the different places. You really get used to having the pockets in the back where you can throw your phone and your keys and whatever else you need in. So they're often available on a lot of the sales racks. The heavy duty lock. Some people in Waverly, probably the little chain locks will do, like you can buy at Walmart. If you send your kids off to school at Iowa State, UNI, this is the minimum you want, because these can be, these are not easy to break into. The other ones, they clip and go. Also, if you're sending kids off to school, make sure they're gonna bike, because I see a lot of bikes in racks that are rusted and are never retrieved. If the kids are not gonna bike, don't even send a bike. And if you're gonna send a bike, make sure it's not an expensive bike, unless they can put it inside, because they get stolen just like that, if it's a good bike. When you're locking your bike, you wanna lock all the important parts of the bike. See if I've got my keys on me. So you don't wanna put it just through the tire, because that back tire pops off really easy. So it's even better, like this one, if it would fit through a rack, this one actually has an extension that I could put on it with a heavy duty wire. You want it through as much of the bike as you can, especially the frame or the back wheel, anything that can get stolen, you want that locked through. It's harder for them to get it if you've got something attached to it that's attached to the other parts, but these are the most important pieces to lock, are the frame and the back wheel.
Because they'll just take the wheels sometimes?
They'll take the wheels, because this whole rack back here, if you've got a really nice bike, that wheel's worth about $500. So that's an easy $500. The frames, on the more expensive bikes, they can turn around and sell for $1,000. So you want your frame locked. Even the commuter bikes, around here again, you're probably not going to have as much problem with safety, but in our location, we're very close to the school, we're very close to other facilities, and sometimes kids will hop on a bike and just take it for a joyride. It might be found later, but your bike might be missing, so it doesn't hurt just to put some kind of chain or lock on it just to prevent that. That's what you're probably going to see mainly here. Questions for me? What other things do you want to know about biking? Has anybody done any trails outside of Waverly?
Just Clarksville and Allison.
See, and I haven't done Clarksville and Allison. Are they paved trails? Okay. So this would be a good off-road, the gravelly trails. We have a lot of nice paved trails. Decorah Trail is beautiful. Has some hills. The High Trestle Trail down by Madrid. Lisa Bennett's from down in that area. It lights up at night, so you really want to go at dusk. You want to have your headlamp and a tail light. You can walk it. It's beautiful. The bridge goes across and it's all lit up at night. So get out and enjoy some of Iowa's trails. There's many, many trails to go
I
visit.
noticed that the rest area, we stopped on a trip and they had a biking map, kind of like a
Yeah,
highway map.
highway
So I
map
picked
with
one up.
bikes. Right.
Like the state of Iowa?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Mhm.
You know how they always have the little highway maps there? I picked it up not thinking it was a highway map because ours is really old and I'm like, oh, it's bike.
Yeah, they have nice trail maps. The other thing I didn't cover was signaling. How many of you know what the signals are if a bike is turning? We learned that in driver's ed long time ago.
It doesn't matter what arm you use, or does it?
Yeah, you're supposed to go right, this is stop, left. But you'll find that most motorists do not know what the signals mean. You're better off, I'm going this way, I'm going this way, and pointing the direction you're gonna turn. This is kind of universal for stop or slow, but even still, a car might not know what it means. Other bicyclists that have biked enough, they know that means stop or slow. When you're coming on railroad tracks, make sure when you cross the track, you go straight on. So if that track is at an angle, you will have to come out and go straight on. If you hit it like this, it'll grab your tire and take you down. If you're riding close to the edge of the road, the rain grates, they have the little slats in them, and some of those slats are big enough to get a tire down in. So watch for potholes and rain grates. Those are really easy to take you out. In town, people opening car doors, right into them. So watch for those things, or watch people pulling out. Look, if there's somebody in a car and you think that they're gonna pull out, just back off, just keep an eye on them. That's the hardest thing I think about biking, is you just have to be aware of your surroundings at all times. You have to know everything that's going on.
And bikes are not supposed to be on the sidewalk?
Bikes, it depends on the ordinance for the city. So a lot of cities do not want bikes on the sidewalk, but it's not enforced. So the city of Waverly does not want bikes down in the front, in the storefronts, on the city streets area, the sidewalk area, but they don't enforce it.
That, I think there's a lot of car doors opening, I guess, and the sidewalk's wide enough, I guess I'd feel more comfortable just going downtown, being on that sidewalk versus the street.
People that are not cyclists do not understand that cyclists watch out for people, so they think somebody coming out of a business is gonna get run over by a bike. We don't have that much bike traffic to have that happen, first of all. But it's just that fear of somebody's gonna get hurt if a bicyclist comes along. And really, bikes and motorcycles are probably very accident prone just because it's hard to see them. So you really have to watch out. Intersections, stoplights, people run stoplights. Just always be aware of what that driver's doing and as you're turning, because it's very easy for them to not see you. You know how your car has that little blind spot here. Just really make yourself aware that you're there. Pull out a little bit ahead, just so that they can see you. Don't stand back in their blind spot. That's something
Now, you
else.
think people on the side streets rather than going down Bremer.
Side streets are good. I've been taking a side street on Bike to Work Week, which is 6th Avenue, but there's uncontrolled intersections, so I have to slow down at every intersection because they're uncontrolled. Dog's coming at you, what do? Panic! No.
Pick your feet up.
Nice
Good
dog.
work. Nice doggy, nice doggy. Carry dog treats. The best thing to do, they want to chase, stop, slow down, get off, get between the bike between you and the dog. Water bottle, spray them. Talk nice, see if they wag. Hopefully their owner is nearby. But really, dogs are supposed to be leashed on the trail and in city, so that is something that is a concern, but the dogs will chase you and they'll grab you back here. So try to put distance between you and the dog. That's the main thing. I found some interesting statistics that even though children 10 to 19 years are still at the highest incidence of motor vehicle bicycle injuries, those numbers have been going down. More parents are getting kids helmets, making them wear helmets, that's good. Also, less kids are biking. If you think about it, most kids are trucked or biked to school from their parents. The incidence of injuries are increasing in 50 to 69 years of age and 20 to 29 years of age. Those in the 50 plus age group are now biking for fitness. you know, so they get out and they're at higher risk because there's more of them. And the 20 to 29 are our green community. Like my daughter doesn't even own a car, she bikes to work and bikes home. So we're seeing a kind of a movement of the young people who don't even own cars. Questions for me? Did you bike to work this week?
I haven't.
I keep forgetting.
I know.
I can't believe you
Maybe
forget.
tomorrow. Well, my problem is my bike hasn't been down out of the rack for the winter yet, so,
Yeah.
and I haven't had time to do that. I need to do that tonight.
Yes, get air in the tires,
Yes.
first of all. Air in the
Don't let your
tires.
kids do it,
Don't let your kids do it.
because they blow
Don't
up
overinflate.
my tires.
Right.
Have you seen those bikes that are like the automatic transmission bikes, where they're supposed to like shift for you, so you don't have to, it takes the guesswork out?
Yeah, I wouldn't be comfortable with them, but somebody who maybe needs a little help that just doesn't bike that much, on the trails, it'd be okay. As long as it's maintained. My sister-in-law had one, and she liked it, but once it doesn't start shifting right for them, then it just becomes more of a problem. And the thing too with your knees, don't ride in high gear all the time, you know. Learn to shift down. I see people just biking in high gear because they don't want to shift.
I do it just because I figure it's a better workout.
It is, but watch your knees. If your knees start hurting, it's because you're not shifting. You should get 80 rotations a minute. That's how fast you should be pedaling typically.
Yeah, I was working too hard when I first started.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to shift or when you're supposed to shift.
You can feel it. Well, if you can get about 80 rotations per minute, which is, if you figure 60 seconds is 60 in a minute, just kind of count even how many times one leg goes around. You can feel it with the tension. And start anticipating when you're coming to a stop or a stop sign, shift down. Because you get to the stop sign and then you have to get back on that bike. If you're in high gear, it's going to be hard to get going again, especially if you're trying to cross traffic. And don't be afraid to walk across traffic either. It's a little safer to walk across than to try to get back on the bike. What else? I like my bow.
Mhm.
I can see that.
Ron Ragsdale is one of our bike safety proponents, just because he went out on the trail one day. He left his home, forgot his helmet. He knew he would see me, and I would give him a bad time because he didn't have his helmet. So he went back home and he got his helmet. Came back down to the trail, and he's biking along. Deer runs out in front of it.
Oh,
Mm.
He got stopped, and he's going, good thing I got my helmet. So he continues on his ride, gets all the way to the end of the trail, you know, Highway 63, heard some rustling, that deer paralleled him the whole way, went across again. So twice, that helmet saved him, you know, if he would have hit that deer, that helmet saved him from hitting the pavement. So what's the most exciting thing you saw on the trail?
No, I've seen deer, but not crossing in front of me. I think I got a couple of chipmunks.
Chipmunks. The thing with chipmunks is they can get stuck between your spokes. Slice and dice and take you down.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
They just kind of huddled down in front of me. It's like, no.
that's why as soon as I see one, and I will be telling them they need to mow again, because the bunnies, I'll go bunny, 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 you know, get rid of the bunny, because I've had a bunny hit me and I was afraid it was gonna take me down. I luckily didn't, but I've run over a snake or two, but we don't get snakes very often.
I've only
Sorry,
seen
wrong
one.
line.
Yeah, right now the purple Danes rockets are in bloom, it's really pretty.
Mhm.
So if you get out on the trail, you don't even have to go that far, they're really pretty. We've had monarch butterflies migrating through, very pretty too. Those are usually in the fall. I had, the most unusual one was an owl, where I was biking and it came down above me.
That about
Mm.
freaky, you know, it's
Uh-huh.
scary.
Uh-huh.
Because they're quiet. when
They're
they
quiet,
fly.
yeah.
I've seen a lot of stuff next to the trail, but I don't see them much.
Mhm.
in front of me.